if you have questions, because I feel like we have some, that people have submitted or whatnot, but I would love to give you all the chance first. Does anyone have any burning questions that they would like to ask? Can be anything, and you can also ask a specific team member as well.
I have a question, but it might sort of come like obvious as we go through the call, but like I've literally just found you guys and just been accepted as a trusted seed, and like the obvious as we know interested in the work, but kind of don't really know where to go now. I'm not the tech side. I'm more on like strategy and communications and kind of clarity and all that sort of thing. So just like where would I go? How can I be helpful?
You want to take that, Chris or Jeff?
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I would say, we're working on technical components. Those technical components have several rabbit holes of complexity in blockchain technology and other, more specific technologies. But I think the Common Stack is really working to lift that like technical knowledge to a more like, how do we apply these technologies to solve the big problems of the world? And I see the Common Stack as really like taking the deep technical rabbit hole stuff and making it useful for communities in ways that communities can understand. And I'm sure everyone here has seen, a lot of our work. There is a lot of work in communicating and translating those concepts into real world. And I mean, it's funny in crypto and Web3, we're almost redesigning all of the things that have already been designed in Web2 in the real world. So there's this massive like exploration space, but I think for us to responsibly explore it, we also need to understand the context that we're working in. And in my mind, what we need is more communicators and more sort of human understanding of this rather than the technical rabbit hole. We need to kind of lift it to people don't want to know how a combustion engine works. They just want to drive the sports car, right? They want to get in. They want to know there's a good engine under the hood. But today, we're still talking about the mechanics of the combustion engine. And I think we really need to like put that under the hood and then sell people the sports car. Hey, here is a way that communities can raise money, have polycentric governance over those funds, and use those for solving real world problems. And that's the car, but we're still talking about the technical details of the engine. So I think one of the most important things actually for the Common Stack is lifting those that understanding to how we can apply this technology to solve problems rather than just talking about the technology for technology's sake, which kind of brings us down these rabbit holes. So I think people with the skills that you have are absolutely needed in this space, and would love to chat more about how we can get this message to more people and make these technologies more useful for solving real world problems.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I don't know, Anna Marie, if you wanted to respond. And
yeah, just to say that's really great. Thank you, because I was just reminding myself, like reading through some of your documentation and your blogs, and just sort of, I was wondering if am I a little bit too early? Like, you guys not quite at that point yet? But if you are, then that's really exciting because, like, I'm a part of a big community. I'm a part of Inspiral, which is like a global community of people, and I'm also doing some voluntary work with Seeds, and kind of from that side of things. So yeah, if this is good timing, then that's really exciting.
Yeah, you came exactly at the right time. And I'll say as well, we're just finishing a piece that we're going to publish about the Common Stack 2021 direction. So we do focus a lot in our communications, or have in the past, on the tech, but we're kind of framing the organization a little different way to make it more tangible of the different things that we have going on, like the Trusted Seed and the research lab. And we have kind of all these pieces and parts that we're framing as almost like chakras. So we're looking at this like pattern in breaking down how we look at the organization so it's more tangible, and that people like yourself could come and figure out, hey, what's going on, and how to contribute. So we're going to publish that soon. And yes, we need more communicators. We need more translators like you, and you're here at the perfect time. And we just don't have enough. So we would definitely love to get to know you a little better and invite you to our contributor meeting and just, yeah, chat with you more. Thanks so much for asking all that. And
Brilliant. So cool.
yay. Does anybody else have anything on their mind at the top of their head? Or if you feel a little shy, you can also type your questions. There's a community hall workroom channel, and you can type. Chris, is that an open channel actually? Okay, great. Yeah, you should see the Rainbow Community Hall workroom channel, and you can drop questions in there if you're feeling shy. Meanwhile, while you think about it,
I just dropped a share screen
oh, great.
for to explain that chakras concept. So I just pulled this up. Yeah, Jess pointed out we're going to drop this article shortly, but I just wanted to show Anna Marie, maybe this gives you some idea of kind of the different areas of focus of the common stack. So starting at the root chakra, we have the trusted seed. So this is like the grounding and the roots of the common stack. We have the commons deployment. So essentially the common stack is a pattern. It's a pattern for regenerative flows within kind of a Web3 token ecosystem. And what we plan to do with that pattern is deploy it a bunch of times. And every time we deploy it, we're going to learn, and we're going to bring that back into the pattern and improve the pattern. Then we're going to deploy it again. And different communities, of course, will be deploying. And we plan on learning from all of these deployments, bringing that back into the pattern, and then iterating this as we go. We have the development group, which is sort of the center of action and power. But we also are an ecosystem accelerator where we are supporting other community projects and other public goods ecosystems. We have comms and legal. So it's, how we communicate this, and also how we take the feedback from the community to improve and iterate these technologies. We also plan to be a knowledge commons, so bringing that awareness and perspective of how to apply these tools, and also looking back, what has been tried, what worked, what didn't work. There's kind of this short-term, people come into the crypto space and try something without knowing that has been tried 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So really trying to bring this knowledge of like what has been tried, how to DAO, what are these experiments, these different attempts that have been more or less successful, and why. And yeah, definitely a lot of experience in the common stack with on the common stack team with that. And finally is the research lab, which is our sort of inquiry and exploration. So looking at where the technology is going in the next 5 to 10 years, how we can bring that into what we're building today, and continuing to stay open to the further evolution of this technology. So maybe that gives a bit more context of where people can come in and help, where their interests are in these different areas of focus of the common stack. And we'll have a piece coming out with a lot more information on that in the next week or two.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, for sharing that. And yeah, that brings us to a topic I think you could be interested in, Anna Marie, and maybe other folks as well, because we're familiar with Inspiral and have a lot of connections there. And also Seeds are one of our, friends and collaborators, I guess, in the space as well. And what Jeff was sharing about not just looking at the tech, but also the culture. And I know this is a lot of Inspiral's work as well. So Livia, did you want to touch a little bit on some of the cultural work that we're doing in the Common Stack and the TEC as well?
Yeah, sure. Just like Jeff just mentioned, the cultural aspect is so important, if not the thing that is most needed right now to translate a lot of these concepts, and also to understand that we are humans and that these tools are being built for humans, and get a little bit off this narrative that I don't know, capitalism, not only capitalism, but the systems that we've been inserted in provided that we feel so detached from economy, as if it wasn't for us, as if it was like, as if money was for money itself. And I think there is so much of our decision making that gets lost in this process, and how we start losing ownership of things, and therefore losing our autonomy and losing our drive and our motivation. And there is so much that can be brought back together by seeing how can we collaborate with each other, how can we feel good when we are with each other, how can we bring decisions closer to us and give the agency to everyone. So something we've been looking a lot into in the TEC is that we are horizontally scaling, and the scaling happens as more and more people step into leadership positions. So it's totally open. We've been creating processes to facilitate this feeling of agency. And the more people step into these places, they open space. And then by them opening space, everything gets larger and larger, and we expand as a whole as well. So we've been working a lot with communication, with I think I don't remember who said that decentralized systems are only decentralized because there is communication, that is this very subtle energy that connects everything. Like, I always think about that decentralized image and all of the dots being connected. That invisible line that connects them is communication, is information connecting everything. So this has been a huge effort to keep us connected in this sense, and we have some structures for that are very malleable. They are soft structures, and they are mostly the working groups that we've been working on, and the way we've been connecting them. I'll pass back to you, Jess. Yeah.
Thanks, Lippy. So yeah, I guess that goes along with and kind of transitions into, I think there's a lot of confusion, or maybe we've had a lot of questions around how are the Common Stack and the TEC related. I've had a few people submitting this question. So yeah, does anyone want to take this question from the team?
Yeah, sure. I can explain a bit about it. So as we mentioned before, the Common Stack kind of has this design pattern, and then we're looking to deploy it a bunch of times with different communities and different contexts, and see, what we can learn and bring back into those sort of best practices of applying this kind of toolkit. I think a lot of the people interested in the Common Stack are interested in launching a commons or utilizing some of this technology. So a lot of what we're trying to do is create like the how-tos, the documentation of deploying what things to look out for, what are best practices that exist so far, and the TEC is going to be the first deployment. So they have also, so for anyone who doesn't know, the Token Engineering Commons is the TEC. And it's basically going to be sort of a funding DAO, like Moloch, like Prime DAO, like we see in a lot of the space, where TEC token holders are community members. Those people can put funds into the bonding curve, receive TEC tokens, or they can complete proposals for the TEC and get paid in TEC tokens or DAI. I mean, everyone needs to eat. We understand this. And the idea is it's basically a continuous funding tool for token engineering projects. So every time someone sells out of the TEC, there will be an exit tax that goes back into a funding pool. So we don't condone like pump and dump and profit taking. So essentially, when people choose to sell their tech tokens and take some DAI out, everyone needs to pay rent, everyone needs to eat, but you pay a small portion of that back into the funding pool. So there'll be continuous funding essentially as the price of the TEC token fluctuates. People may choose to enter or exit this economy, and that action actually funds the continuous funding of token engineering projects. So it'll be a really, really interesting experiment in, essentially like regenerative funding for token engineering public goods. And everyone who participates in the hatch of the TEC will be part of the trusted seed. So the TEC took a vote. They said they want to employ the trusted seed as the healthy initialization condition for the DAO. So essentially, everyone who has a C-Stack score will be eligible to put funds into the TEC hatch and participate in the earliest days of the token engineering commons, augmented bonding curve, conviction voting, and all that. Of course, if you don't want to be in the hatch, you can participate in the TEC after it's gone live. But the only people who will be participating in the hatch will be C-Stack score holders. So if you want to participate in the early days of the token engineering commons, we recommend joining the trusted seed, and we can go over that as well. There's just a few steps to joining and activating your membership. If anyone hasn't gone through that process yet, we can definitely chat more about that as well.
I think that's a good segue, but maybe just before that, Vivi actually asked not just about the relationship between the token engineering commons and Common Stack. He also was curious and wanted to know what are the relations between token engineering, Common Stack, token engineering commons, and OneHive. So if you can maybe talk a little more deeply about those relationships and how these collaborations work.
Yeah, actually, that reminded me of a diagram, a Venn diagram that I will pull up. Just loading now. Let me share my screen again, just to give an idea. So yeah, right. A lot of these organizations are collaborating. Diagram. Take care. See you in a while, okay? For you.
Yeah, I guess while you pull that up, I can say, what's really interesting about the open source community is how we are these individual organizations, but we have a lot of interconnections through these kind of hierarchical network collaborations where there's a specific challenge or an idea or a deliverable, and there's resources. And so groups will come together around a particular kind of research initiative and collaborate and then disperse. And so some of these relationships are more kind of quick, they come together, but we have longer standing relationships with these organizations that you mentioned, ViVV. And Jeff can explain kind of the origin story, I guess, of where token engineering actually came from. It's only a couple of years old. And then how the relationships of these organizations, some are more tight knit and close, and some just come together around certain collaborations. Did you find the diagram?
I have. Share my. The one. Great. So this is still a bit of a work in progress, but what we were trying to do is just show the overlaps of some of these communities. So we have the Common Stack on the left here, which is really focusing on the governance research, the education around this emerging technology, how we apply these patterns to solving real world problems. We have an big overlap with Block Science, who is an engineering design firm. This is a group that does a lot of the deeper research, the deeper analysis, the data science, the machine learning type stuff. We are really trying to take some of their technology and bring it to a more digestible level and a more deployable. Like we want to create a library of tools so that people can go to that library, take the tools that they need to use, combine them, contextualize them for their scenario, and then deploy. The token engineering discipline is essentially the discipline of engineering applied to Web3. So engineering actually is for anyone who doesn't have engineering roots, there's a strong like ethical and social responsibility, which we believe is really important in this space as well. Designing safe public infrastructure requires that kind of ethical code and the deeper commitment to public safety. And that this is something that hasn't existed a lot in software engineering, because up until now, software engineering, I mean, you can just change it with a pull request. So there hasn't really been need for kind of thinking through to, when you design a bridge, you have to be careful that that bridge will never fall down. With an app, you don't really have to think about that. But when we start moving into public goods like economic power grids, which is essentially what we're building in the Web3 space, we need to be really careful that we're doing that safely. Because if we build public infrastructure that isn't ethically built to protect the public, we can get into some very dangerous spaces. So that's where the engineering discipline comes in. The token engineering commons is kind of an overlap between the engineering discipline and the work being done by the common stack in bringing these sort of cultural aspects of these institutions to the fore. So the token engineering commons is a deployment of the common stack design pattern using token engineering and forwarding token engineering projects and funding. What isn't on here that you mentioned by V is OneHive. So OneHive is a really badass community of developers. They actually have a very similar goal to the common stack in terms of seeing these kinds of systems proliferating open source is really their focus. We've been working very closely with them. Their dev team has essentially worked very closely with with our devs, with Griff, and maybe you can speak more on this a bit, Griff, about the Common Swarm and the Garden Swarm, and where all of our smart contracts are coming from is in very close collaboration with OneHive. So
yeah, of course.
That can, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, conviction voting was a brainchild of the Common Stack, and OneHive started to implement it. In fact, they actually, the Gardens template originally was following completely the Common Stack model with the bonding curve feeding into conviction voting. But now their structure, they didn't want to have to come up with the legal strategies for doing the bonding curve in a way that was compliant. So that's where the Common Stack kind of took the more of a developmental lead to continue the work that OneHive has done. But we've been partnered together for years at this point, building the same stuff for the same reasons, but with slightly different flavors. That we're really focused on small nonprofit causes. They're trying to build a token economy that is funding open source creation and building tools that people need in the crypto scene. So it's a really nice partnership, and the Common Swarm is a really key piece of something that intersects. The Common Swarm is supporting the creation of disputable conviction voting right now with OneHive, and we have a nice partnership there. And of course, the Common Swarm is building the the iteration 0 template of our commons, our DAOs that have bonding curves feeding into conviction voting and this whole hatch process. And so they're leading that development, and they're 100% funded by OneHive and through the conviction voting. So there's a lot of crossover there.
So Baby, did that answer your question, or did you have anything further that you wanted to ask about the relationships between these organizations?
I guess there's one more organization to mention on this Venn diagram is CAD-CAD. And this is really sort of the shared overlap space between block science, the token engineering commons, Common Stack, and even OneHive. the Luna Swarm. So swarms are basically working groups within the One Hive ecosystem. So when you hear Griff talking about the Common Swarm and the Garden Swarm, these are working groups within and between One Hive and the Common Stack. There's also Luna Swarm, which is a CAD/CAD modeling group. So CAD/CAD is essentially a simulation and modeling engine for complex systems. So you can plug in kind of like agent-based modeling for token ecosystems and figure out how people will behave to various stimuli within the system. And this is definitely a shared overlap because this is common practice in existing engineering practices. Before we build circuits, we simulate them. We put different voltage spikes into them and we see how they respond, because it's important for us to know if that phone is going to blow up in someone's pocket. So we need to do the same sort of thing with token economies and put them through stress tests and fault tolerance and sensitivity analysis. And CAD/CAD is the tool to do that. So just to bring to bring this diagram full circle, that's how all these organizations interact within this ecosystem.
Awesome. Yeah, and 5IV responded via text and he just said, interesting, loads of info, very insightful. I can better understand now. I was slightly confused about how it all connects together. Yeah, it's definitely a lot. So in that vein thread, Jeff had mentioned about the Token Engineering Commons. And right now, a lot of our work is to make sure we have all of the bright minds and hearts in this community that are gonna come on board and activate their trusted seed membership, so we can co-invest together in bootstrapping in and launching the token economy with Token Engineering Commons to fund the creation of token engineering tools, standards, resources. So the biggest part of our work in the next 2 weeks is to get our trusted seed activated. So go around and grab all the people that are, our most amazing builders in the community and who are mission aligned, and get them on board. So Dan, do you want to talk a little bit about how to activate your trusted seed membership and just walk through that process for us? And maybe Chris can show us the DApp and just share with everybody, if they haven't had a chance to look into it, a little preview and TLDR of how to activate.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was actually going to ask if somebody could share the screen. And I actually had questions for you guys. And I mean, and I already know the answer to some of them. Like, basically, I wanted to do a round with you guys that are with us down here. It doesn't have to be right now. It will be maybe after I do this short preview. Well, I really want to know how you came to Common Stack or the TEC, how you got over here. And just as well, because we're thinking a lot about the journey. Again, a lot about the journey towards activation, your trusted seed membership. And on the other side, and this is the question I already had the answer for, is like, who of you has applied to the trusted seed? And I already know that because I was like, oh, where is Anne-Marie? Where is, oh, I know Graven, because I know most of the people and they don't know me, but it's like I go through the applications and the motivations of what brings you here, and it's so beautiful and energizing just to know that, like, why are you coming over to this space? Why does it resonate so strongly with you guys? Like, the commons and some of the, we find some patterns in the motivations why people come over here, and some of the guiding factors towards a shared purpose and shared values and shared futures. But just as well, yeah, let me give you like the short overview of the journey right now. So basically, you discover the Commons Stack through social media, through maybe an article by Jeff, maybe through MetaFest in the last weeks, or maybe in another space. Maybe you just find a mention through peers over Discord, other channels, just some friends. So there are many ways to know about the Common Stack. I mean, like, just as well, like, you engage, you find our website, you see, oh, okay, this resonates with me. There is an application, so shall I apply to? Anyway, the application has been changing a little bit over the last months, and now it's the latest version that aligns with the complete journey, like towards activations. Some of you might have some little bits that are different from some of you guys. But right now, we talk about applying to the trusted seed through the type form that we had on our website. So basically, you apply. These applications are reviewed by the team. They basically this allows us to keep. It's not a full. Oh wait, somebody. Sorry. Can you see me? Okay, let me. Okay, so basically, you apply. We review the applications. This takes usually take a long time. Now it's taking less than 2 weeks. We are aiming towards 1 week. Basically, from there, you get your email. You can go through 2 paths. So basically, you can just be a successful applicant that can provide some funding to the Common Stack, or activate your members. Sorry, I had a lot of people texting me right now for some reason. You can just activate your membership through the membership app, and this actually you sign the statutes, you sign the terms and conditions, and you are already in our XDIE registry. This is something that happens through the assessment, and through there you can fully activate your Trusted Seed membership. Besides that, you can put a skin in the game in terms of contributing time. This is very valuable to us, and this earns you praise. So praise translates at the end of the month. We quantify praise. So basically, this is it's a very subjective process and collaborative process, and we will actually be doing this by the end of the week. But basically, we quantify praise, and this quantification of the contributions that people do turns into C-stack score increasements. So now we introduced last week a notification on the C-stack score increase. So anyway, the process is coming together. We had a lot of things to do. I encourage you guys to come on Thursdays. We're having at 12 p.m. EST. We're having this contributor sync. It's the time to ask more questions. And actually on Tuesdays, yesterday, we're having these Trusted Seed office hours. So you can even come and say like, hey, Daniel, I applied and I really want to change my ETH address. Okay, it happens. So you can come over here and ask these kinds of questions. But just as well on the contributor sync, very much welcome to discuss ideas for the journey. Oh, wait, they're calling me a lot. I'm gonna pass to Chris, maybe share the membership app. Be right back in 30.
Sure. Yeah, I was just sharing this for Dan because I know he's working off his phone lately. So I was just pulling this up so everyone had the links. As Dan mentioned, the first step is apply for membership. I think most people here have already done this. The second step is to activate your membership. The link to do that is member.commonstack.foundation. You can go there and check it out. Essentially, you sign the terms and conditions and the statutes. It's actually pretty neat. You use your wallet to cryptographically sign them and host it on IPFS. It's also a 3 network bridge DApp, which is pretty cool. It works on mainnet, XDAI, and Rinkeby. So yeah, pretty cool. Definitely go check it out. The dues for joining the membership, joining the Trusted Seed, are 450 DAI. Of course, we welcome contributions above this amount. And if money is a problem for anyone here, we encourage you to fill out a scholarship. Essentially, you can reclaim your dues back on Giveth. So if money is an issue at all, we don't want that to stand in the way of the right people being in the Trusted Seed. So please feel free to go on and activate your membership. Yeah, we want to make sure we have all of the right people in the Trusted Seed for the launch of the TEC and other commons moving forward. I can pass it back to you, Chris, to take it away, unless anyone else had questions or final comments.
Sure, yeah. And I wanted to welcome Kai and Ryan Crypto. Nice to see you guys. And just while we're on this subject, we had a question that Tanner had sent at Cadmelia. He asked, when is the deadline for paying membership dues? Who wants to take this one?
I can take it. So there is no real deadline. You pay when you pay membership dues, you become a member of the Trusted Seed, and the Trusted Seed will protect you for joining partnerships. The Trusted Seed will protect you if you join a DAO, and DAOs are generally considered general partnerships, so it has this weird liability around it in a lot of jurisdictions. But if you do join the Trusted Seed, then this is like a legal structure that is a very innovative legal structure to protect people from joining DAOs and in normal operations. But there is certain benefits of joining the Trusted Seed besides that. That will only be activated if you're in it. For example, joining the Token Engineering Commons has voted to say you have to be part of the Trusted Seed to participate in the hatch of their commons, which means if you want to initialize their bonding curve, if you want to be a founding member of the Token Engineering Commons, you have to first be in the Trusted Seed. So when they launch, that would be an important deadline. You would want to be in there before the launch. Also, right now, there's a vote on their mission, vision, and values. There's going to be a vote on actually parameterizing the Hatch DAO. And if you want to participate in those votes, and you're going to join the Trusted Seed anyway to continue and participate in the Token Engineering Commons, then you might as well join now and get more voting power. Because when you join the Trusted Seed and activate your membership, you will get a bunch of extra C-Stack, whether you pay the donation fee yourself or you apply for a scholarship. You get a bunch of C-Stack, which which gives you more say than before. And if you're going to do it anyway, you might as well do it before the votes. And right now, the voting on mission, vision, values ends on April 13th. So, and you could vote right now. So it's a great time.
Awesome. Thanks, Griff. And Kai and Ryan Crypto, if you guys had any questions, you could either just open your mic or drop them in the community hall channel with the rainbow.
No questions at the moment. Thanks, though.
Okay, cool. Kryptonio, did you have any questions on your mind? You've been with us for some time, so you know quite a bit, but we haven't really chatted with you too much.
Yeah, I was curious about the conviction voting on the Common Stack DAO, and I know that they get the round 9 finished up. So curious, like, what were some of the insights you guys got, or what are some of the next steps as like a participant? Be curious to know.
Yeah, I can give a breakdown of that. I kind of lead that project. So the Panvala League is now in the staking version. So we collected donations into our grant, and that will be matched via Panvala's issuance. But now we're in the phase where people stake Pan tokens in to the various projects, and so this, like, the exact amount of issuance that we get from Panvala then we spread to the 15 projects isn't known yet. So we don't have like core results, but what from the conviction voting votes, we did get the top 15 projects, and there's a spreadsheet. If you go to the Panvala grant, you can actually see, the Common Stack Community Fund Panvala League grant. You can actually see the spreadsheet, and it's kind of complicated, but in general, those top 15 grants, they'll all be topped up to $1,000. And that's like the first amount of money that we do, is that all of those grants will at least receive $1,000 from their Gitcoin round. And then after that, we allocate it from the top down, kind of spreading the money out to the various groups. The top 15, this is the first round where the Common Stack didn't make the top 3. We didn't even make the last rounds. We were always number 1, because it is kind of our group. But this round, Token Engineering Commons, CAD, and ArtDAO actually beat us out. So,
yeah, and just for a little context as well, for those of you who might not know, so and I support Griff in our kind of public goods ecosystem accelerator, where we do these huge fundraising campaigns every 2 months, coinciding with Gitcoin. Then we have, as Griff mentioned, the Panbala League, so we're able to get extra matching. Up to like 20x of the donations that come in to Gitcoin. And so we have this conviction voting DAO that Griff and the Common Swarm put together, and it's kind of like a TCR style ranking. So if you have CStack tokens, if you're member of the Trusted Seed, you can submit a proposal. So if you're working on a project that needs funding, that's public goods or open source, you can submit your project. And then the community, you can also vote. So you can vote for your favorite projects and they get ranked. And as Griff mentioned, the top 15 get extra matching. So that's just a little bit of context in case you're not familiar with that process. And with that, we had a question that I wanted to get to because a lot of people ask about CAD and are kind of intrigued to learn what it is. And we had one question from Ravensong, Matt Glenn Scott, and he asked, I need the quickest route to come up to speed with your models so far. So Jeff, maybe if you want to pull up that cool CAD onboarding notion that you have, I still think we probably could share this more as people kind of jump into learning about CAD modeling. And maybe you can talk and share for people who don't know what CAD is. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, but why is it so important, or what can we do with this tool that we have?
Right. I'm curious. Do you think he meant modeling like CAD modeling, or do you think he meant model like the pattern? The way you read that question made me think he was.
Good question. Well, maybe you can tackle both because yeah, it's not clear from the question, but yeah, actually he could mean the Common Stack pattern, or he could mean CAD models. So maybe you could try to do both in our last couple of minutes here.
Sure. As usual, I like to think in diagrams. So let me just pull up my screen here again, and I will show. I think there's tons of models. So in terms of like doing the data science analysis of this and plugging in all of the data and doing complex analysis and trying to figure out how these systems will work, this is kind of the CAD side of things. But more. Oops, I didn't share yet. More the pattern that we're trying to deploy looks more like this. So let's say this is you in the middle. You are the member of. Well, anyway, I'll use this. So there are a couple of actions available to you. So you can fund or withdraw funds from the bonding curve, and you send or receive TEC tokens. You can propose or do work within this ecosystem. So you can submit bounties or proposals, essentially. And then you can use those TEC tokens that you've earned either through funding or spending time in this ecosystem. You can use those tokens to vote on these various proposals. So this is kind of the pattern of the Common Stack that's being deployed in the TEC. And I just wanted to clarify as well, when we were looking at that conviction voting screen that Jess was just showing us, that's kind of dog fooding conviction voting for a specific use case. So I'm not sure, Antonio, if you were asking about conviction voting as it will be deployed, like in the Commons, in the TEC, or how we're sort of dog fooding conviction voting in the early days for this grant matching round. So there's kind of different deployments of these tools in different places. And I just wanted to clarify that we've got conviction voting running now as sort of a ranking mechanism. So for anyone who's familiar with TCRs, token curated registries, they were a big thing a couple of years ago. And conviction voting is actually like deployed the way that we have it on cv.commonstack.org. It's kind of like a continuous TCR. where people can submit their grants and then vote on them to push them up or move them down relative to each other. But when we use conviction voting in the kind of deployment pattern, we're using it for the continual assessment and funding of all the proposals that are on the table. So that's kind of how proposals go from being suggested to the community to passing, is if they have sufficient support. And conviction voting kind of works like this battery that charges up the more people that support the proposal. And then when it hits this threshold, then the funds go through, the work can begin, and so on and so on. So did that answer the question about the pattern?
Yeah, or I also think it wasn't super clear. So I guess two more things to add would be that, the common stack design pattern, as in these 4 components that we talk about, I think the perception has shifted a little bit in that, we have a funding mechanism, which could be, in our design pattern, it's an augmented bonding curve, but I think you could apply it as well with continuous token issuance. And also, I think it seems from the start, and maybe Jeff and Griff, and I know we're kind of running out of time here, but also the pattern right now is conviction voting. But as we kind of, our perception has expanded into more of a polycentric view, there are a lot of different tools and mechanisms we can employ. So yeah, I don't know, Griff, if maybe you want to just, to wrap up, talk about, how our idea of this common stack components and pattern, we have this instance, but is our perception kind of evolving to include maybe a little more expanded view? Or how do you see the common stack pattern from when you started, 2 years ago till now?
So far, I mean, the token engineering commons will be the first one using the pattern, so we will see. Maybe it's not any good at all. I think it'll be great though, personally, but we'll find out and then we'll iteratively improve. The whole idea is this iterative approach where we launch it with the TE Commons, we see how that works, we make it easy for other groups to launch it with the same pattern using our same design tools, and we'll just make it super easy for a community to come in and create the right culture and use the tech to make something that works. And then we'll look at them, we'll do study and learn about the problems people had on the technical side and the cultural side, and we'll make the next iteration of this version, and we'll continue to iterate on this pattern with the base assumption being we can create economies around value creation. Even if that value creation is for society, we can create economies that reward the people who are creating value, and that's the baseline assumption. Everything above that we're doing, hey, we're doing our best, we'll see how it goes, but I believe this baseline assumption is true. This is our hypothesis. And we have a really cool system that will work for small micro economies because of the bonding curve. And then every organization will have to look at it as an option and one of many options to continue creating value for society, right? And just on the other question that he asked was like our different models that we have. There's a lot of different modeling that we've done over the last 2 years. I wouldn't say that any of them are like, oh, hey, dive into this. This is the perfect one. We are rebuilding the models right now to make it easy for people to design. And we have this design dashboard, the HatchDAO dashboard, that currently for designing the hatch. And that's going to come out in about a week. And then after that, we're going to take all the models that we have had so far and actually create a dashboard for the bonding curve, for designing the bonding curve and the conviction voting, which we're calling the Commons upgrade. So the TEC will start as just a general DAO with a fundraise, and then they will move and upgrade into full-on Commons with the bonding curve, conviction voting, and all the bells and whistles. So I would just honestly, I just wait for those dashboards to come out because they'll be really nice to play with.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're a little over the top of the hour here, so thanks everybody for joining. No, it's perfect. Thanks, Griff. I think that was a really nice update for people, especially who have been here for a while, to hear where we're at. And Dan is actually right now going to be leading a praise onboarding. So if you are interested in becoming a praise disher and learning how that system works, Dan is going to stick around here. And if you have any further questions, I've got to jump for another call, and I know a few others do too. So feel free to hang out here with Dan and just like chat, and maybe Griff wants to hang out. And thank you so much again for joining our Common Stack AMA, and we'll see you next month. And you can always drop us any questions in Telegram, Discord. Happy to chat. And if you're interested to collaborate or work with us, just reach out. We're really, really happy to meet you today and spend more time together.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
See you again soon.